They say the grandchildren are life's greatest joy, and now the first. If their grandchild is smiling, they're feeling the child's joy. Grandchildren are the ones you get to spoil. Consider them a reward for a job well done with your kids. They don't love them more or less. They love them different. I would think that most grandparents would think of their grandchildren as extensions of their kids and love them just as much. The greatest way to express your love to family members is spending time with them. That's simple. Your family won't be with you endlessly, so make as much memories as you can. Grandparents are extremely special. Without them, your parents wouldn't exist, and you wouldn't too. Thus, they're part of the reason why you are where you are today. It isn't about money or gifts, or siding with them against their parents. Just be lovable, available, non-judgmental people who are interested in what their grandkids are into. If it's certain style of music, listen to it and enjoy the beat or the tone of the singer's voice so you know what your grandchild is into. No, you shouldn't badmouth the words or the message the singer is singing. If your grandchild likes playing with Brad Styles and you think they look like streetwalkers, don't tell your grandchild that. Instead, ask them the name of their favorite one and what the doll's backstory is. If your grandchild is into dance or sports or singing lessons, attend their games. Go watch their dance lessons. If allowed, a heroic man in the US died after he jumped into a frozen lake to save his granddaughter, who had fallen under the ice while walking her dogs, his family said. When 10-year-old Melia White fell through the ice, Carlos Serafin didn't think twice about risking his own life. Loved one said a man lost his life after jumping into a frozen pond to save his granddaughter near Charleston. The tragic incident happened as two sisters, 8 and 10, walked their 6 dogs on Saturday morning. 2 puppies ran away from them toward the frozen pond, and the 10-year-old girl, Melia White, followed it, assuming the block of ice was thick enough, recalled family members. The ice wasn't, and it collapsed, plunging the 10-year-old into freezing water. Bailey, the 8-year-old, shouted for help and ran toward the house. Carlos Serafin, age 31, rushed to the pond and jumped in to save the girl. Serafin's husband, Bill Croy, said they were both legal guardians of the girls, who are the biological children of Croy's oldest adopted daughter. Croy said his instinctive rush to save her says so much about the person he was. He didn't think, he just did, and it showed until his last breath, he told NBC News. Carlos had jumped into the pond with a broomstick in an effort to save Malaya, but she was already under the ice, and he also got sucked under. Bill busted the ice to try and get them both, but couldn't find them. The dogs were also in the pond trying to rescue all. He then used a long dog leash to throw to Serafin in hopes that he could pull him, but couldn't reach it. I threw it at him and he said I can't see it anymore. I can't see Bill, a tearful Croy, 47, recounted. I could just see him going under and I just couldn't get to him. The family dialed 911 and rescuers with the Lincoln Fire Protection District and Charleston Fire Department rushed to the scene. They pulled out the girls at 8:06 a.m. and the man at 8:15 a.m. before rushing him to the hospital, said officials. Bailey was able to visit Malaya yesterday and they let her pick out a blanket. She chose this blanket because Malaya loves foxes, deer, and raccoons, but especially foxes. Carlos Serafin passed away at the hospital while the doctors managed to get the girl's heart pumping. She remains in critical condition, according to authorities. Mela is not showing any brain activity, only seizures. Her heart and lungs are working, said the family. Doctors tried to revive Surface as well, but they said he was under the ice for too long and he was not able to be revived. Melissa still has brain swelling. That's the bad news. Some better news. Her lungs improved more overnight. They've taken her off the medication that kept her paralyzed. She is still on medication for brain seizures, though her heart, liver and kidneys have all improved. She's not conscious yet, but has a gag reflex now, which is good. These are all positive signs, said Amanda Beals, Croy's sister. The family also confirmed that one of the family's dogs died in the ice break. Addressing the tragedy, Charleston Fire Chief Steve Bennett said that frozen ponds often pose life-threatening dangers because most people are unaware of the dangers heralded. Others not to step on the frozen pond. People, unless they have any experience or training, don't really think about it. They just see ice and they think, oh, it's thick enough, said Bennett. A good rule of thumb is if it's less than 4 inches, you probably ought to stay off of it. Serafin, a former restaurant manager and stay-at-home dad, was in bed when he heard the commotion and immediately put on sandals to run to danger, family member said. That's what made him Carlos. He was a very spontaneous life, said Amanda Beals, Croy's sister and the girl's great aunt. It truly showed until his last breath. He didn't have a care in the world. He just wanted to take care of others. Family members said. Serafin was in bed when he heard the commotion and immediately ran to help. That's what made him Carlos. He was very spontaneous in life, said Amanda Beals, Croy's sister. Carlos definitely died a hero, you know, that's just who he is. He would do anything for his girls, he would do anything for his dogs. He would do anything for anybody, she said. It truly showed. Until his last breath, he didn't have a care in the world. He just wanted to take care of others. Serafin is a former restaurant manager and was a stay-at-home dad. Keep the prayers coming. As we all know, there are a lot of power in prayers, and there can never be too many, Beals said on Facebook Update Monday on Malia's condition. Croy and Serafin have raised the girls, Beals said. Croy gained guardianship over the girls before marrying Serafin, who was 16 years younger than him. It's a well-blended family, Beals added. Amanda Beals started a GoFundMe campaign to help fund the medical and funeral expenses of the family. The campaign has raised over $35,000 of its $50,000 goal. Grandchildren are just that. Children by the time you get your hands on one, your own children are adults. You learn so much along the road of parenthood, and depending on how many children you have and how far apart they are in age, you only get to apply all of this newfound knowledge once or twice. When you have a grandchild, you get to use it all again, and a fresh new mind. A mind that's more eager to hear what you have to say than your children probably were. Maybe you feel bad that you didn't spoil your own children enough and are trying to tip the karma scale in your favor before you move on to the next life. Whatever reason you choose to accept, being a grandparent has perks that a parent doesn't get for one. You get to keep them for only a few days and at a time and then give them back. This is most parents' dream. You can give them all the cake, candy and ice cream you denied your own children, which may result in easing a guilty conscience. Grandchildren will believe almost anything you tell them. Unlike their parents, they'll probably listen the first time you ask them to do something and do it without complaining again. Unlike their parents, there are many cultures that revere their elders for their experience and wisdom. They are placed on a pedestal and hold the highest rank in their society. Unfortunately, here in the United States, we have created a thriving industry based on the idea that our elders are disposable. We send them out to pasture because we don't want to change their diapers the way they changed ours. When children are still small, they depend on their parents completely. But as they grow older and become more independent, the parent's role is diminished, which can make them feel like they are no longer needed. With the birth of grandchildren, grandparents once again have a role as a nurturing caregiver, which can be very fulfilling. Adult relationships can be complex and demanding, but relationships with babies and kids are simple and easy to maintain. There are also social and cultural factors that can influence an individual's desire to be a grandparent. 1 month ago, 10-year-old Melia White fell into an icy pond while trying to rescue her dogs from the ice. Her grandfather, Carlos Serafin, died trying to save her. White was hospitalized in Peoria with no brain activity and needed machines to help her heart beat and her lungs breathe. She's been in the hospital ever since. Now one of her family members is giving an update on her recovery. Amanda Beals, White's great aunt, said in a Facebook post that White was removed from a ventilator on Saturday and is doing amazing. White is conscious, moving her arms and legs and trying to get out of the chair she's placed in for several hours per day. White is also attempting to talk, although such attempts are emotional for her. It hurts to see her so emotional. However, I'll take that over anything because it shows that she recognizes us and that she's a fighter and is trying her hardest to communicate, Beals said. She's a tough little girl and will come out of this with flying colors. White did suffer a seizure this morning, but Beals said this was likely from stress and White trying to comprehend what happened to her. Why grandparents are more attached to their grandchildren. I think in a family where both husband and wife, i.e. the children's father and mother, are working, grandparents play a very important role for their grandchildren in such a family. When parents are busy in their office making money for a good future of their child, it's grandparents who take care of all the household activities and who take care of their grandchildren. That's why they get attached to their grandchildren, because they raise them, and that's how a complete family is run, by the contribution of grandparents and parents. Love is not something that you weigh or measure. It doesn't come in discrete packets that you dole out. Maybe more to one child than another. Love comes from a wellspring that won't ever run dry. There's always plenty. I've heard of parents that behave as if their love was finite and needed to be doled out or even earned. There will always be a parent for them with strict rules and enforcement of those rules in bad times and grounding and curfews and all that unpleasant stuff. Well, a grandparent is more to have fun with. It's a given that grandparents would have some breakable things in their homes, but knowing that kids are coming would make them remove or hide those fragile items and not worry much when that old vase ends up in pieces.